Meet Brad and Jessica. They've been married for a while now, and like many couples, they don't always see eye to eye. They love each other, but conflicts arise and small misunderstandings escalate into what seems like a never-ending back and forth. Soon they're feeling angry, hurt, and resentful. They sit alone and wonder, how did we get here? Welcome to the crazy cycle. We all know that we should love our spouse, but many of us are unaware of the specific needs that God has built into men and women. He created women with a deep longing to feel loved. And in men, he put a strong desire for respect. When a husband doesn't feel respected by his wife, he reacts in unloving ways. And when a wife doesn't feel loved, she responds without respect. It's the crazy cycle. Our needs aren't met, so we respond negatively, hoping somehow it will change our spouse for the better. And a loving relationship descends into strife and distrust. Fortunately, God shows us a way to resist this downward spiral. In Ephesians, husbands are commanded to love their wives, and wives to respect their husbands. And just as Christ loves us unconditionally, we are to give love and respect at all times, whether we feel our spouse deserves it or not. As we put them first, we begin to recognize that their complaints are often a plea for love or respect. We trust that they are good-willed people, that even in moments of anger or selfishness, they want the marriage to flourish. This is how we end the crazy cycle, with a conscious commitment to love our wives, to respect our husbands no matter what. Brad and Jessica may not always see eye to eye, but they've broken out of the crazy cycle by living in accordance with God's good design.
Have you ever had a conflict with your spouse when suddenly the issue didn't seem to be the issue and you saw their spirit deflate? I like to ask the question, what is the issue when the issue isn't the issue? You know, years ago when Sarah and I were first married, we went from Chicago down to Peoria, Illinois, where my parents lived. It was during the summer, and at that time I wore contact lens, and we drove 3 hours, got there, I'm going to bed that night, and I realized I forgot my contact lens case. And so I thought, well, I've got to improvise here. So I went and got 2 juice glasses. I got up in the morning, poured the water out, put the contact in, got the other juice glass, poured the water out, and there is no contact. I mean, it's not on the lip of the glass, it's nowhere. It is, I looked everywhere. And so I go out, Sarah's with my mom and dad, and I said, Sarah, did you do something with one of those juice glasses last night? I had them on the back of the toilet. She said, no, I did. She said, I did. I got up in the middle of the night and I took a pill. She drank my contact lens. She drank it. I couldn't believe it. I said, I can't believe that you drank my contact lens. She said, well, I can't believe that you would put your contact lens in a juice glass on the back of the toilet. I said, well, I can't believe that you drink out of a juice glass on the back of a toilet. We were having this heated fellowship moment. We were going back and forth in front of my mom and dad, and Sarah's feeling a little embarrassed. I'm coming at her at this moment, and it's heated. And suddenly, Sarah's spirit begins to deflate. And at that point in time, the issue wasn't about the contact lens. Something else was going on in her heart. And it took me a while as a newly married guy to begin to figure out, but I certainly knew that the issue wasn't the issue. Something else was happening in Sarah's spirit, but I didn't quite know exactly what that was. So I began to think, what is the issue when the issue isn't the issue? Several months later, it's Christmas, and we're coming from Chicago down to Peoria again, and Sarah's a farm girl from Indiana. She's a Hoosier. She's on a farm, 2,000 acres, and she can do it all. She can cook, she can, she does it all. She sews, and she made me a special gift. I didn't know. It was a special thing that she had made. It was a jean jacket. She had done it all by hand, put it all together, and it was that last special Christmas gift on Christmas morn. She was so excited about it, and so we'd already opened up all the presents, and now came this moment where she hands me this special gift. And I'm very excited, and I open it up. It's a jean jacket. And I put it on, and I say, thank you. And I'm getting the feel for it. She's watching me. And suddenly she says, you don't like it. I said, I do like it. And I'm continuing to test it out, button it up, and she said, you don't like it. I said, I do like it. And then I continued to look at it, start to take it off. She said, you don't like it. I said, Sarah, why are you saying that I don't like this jean jacket? Because she said, in my family, when we like something, we go, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I said, in my family, we say thank you. But at a certain point, my spirit deflated. And I wasn't totally in tune with it at that time, but I've since come to the realization of what was going on. I mean, I just kind of withdrew and just sank, deflated. And I began to analyze that this kind of thing goes on with many couples. It perhaps goes on with you. Perhaps you've had that experience this week, this month. You just sense the issue isn't the issue. The issue's real. The contact lens is real. The jean jacket is real, but it's not the root issue any longer. This series is going to answer the question, what is that issue when the issue isn't the issue?
We got married really young. I was 21, he was 22. So there's some immaturity when you first get married, and there were just a lot of areas where we were missing each other.
So we found ourselves constantly arguing, and a lot of it had to do with, we've got 4 kids. We would talk over one another. We weren't out to understand the other one's perspective. We were just out to be heard.
For example, there was one time years ago, I was talking to Jason and felt like we'd had some tension happening in our marriage, and it had come to a point where we were gonna have this big conversation. And I had kind of gotten up the courage to reveal a whole lot of stuff to him that was pretty deep and personal, so I was being really vulnerable.
She was very emotional in this moment. She's pouring her heart out. And the one thing I didn't want to do was be emotional in return, and somehow now this is about me.
I was trying to be respectful by allowing him to kind of take the reins and respond.
I wanted her to have the ability to just say what she needed to say and not be a catalyst to make it any worse. So I just didn't say anything and thought it was great.
He doesn't say anything, and he doesn't say anything. So I just get up and go get ready for bed, and that's the end of it. And I was so hurt. A few days have gone by now. He came home for lunch from work and was like, hey, I just wanted to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, here it comes. We're gonna talk about this. And he says, I just think that was so mature of us that you could say what you needed to say, and I was able to listen. He thought we had done this, made this huge leap in our marriage, and I thought our marriage was ending because we were on such different pages. He allowed me to then share with him why that made me feel hurt and unloved. He listened to me, and he hugged me, and that helped me feel that reassurance that, in fact, our marriage was not ending.
The goal wasn't supposed to be me not saying anything so we win. It was supposed to be me hearing what she's saying so that I understand what's going on and understand that hurt and that pain so that we can deal with that and I can help her. We've progressed in life to learning better ways to avoid the crazy cycle or better ways to jump out of it when it's happened. Sometimes I have to ask her what it is she needs so that I can give her love well.
Years back, I made a discovery in the Bible that just kind of blew me away. I had the privilege of studying the Bible 30 hours a week for nearly 20 years as a pastor of a church in East Lansing, Michigan. And I was meditating in Ephesians 5, in fact, actually on verse 33, which is the summary statement to the greatest treatise in the New Testament on marriage. Most would say Ephesians 5 is that classic passage on husband-wife relationships, and verse 33 is the summary. It is as though this is God's last word to the church on marriage. You know, if my dad was dying, he was on his deathbed, and he said, Emerson, come close, come close. You know that the last words of a dying individual are the most important. It's going to come deep from his soul, and he intends for it to go deep into my soul. Well, in a sense, Abba Father has given us his last words to the church on marriage. He's not dying, but in effect, he's saying, come close, church, come close, listen to me. And if you listen to me, everything's going to be okay in your marriage. Everything is going to be okay. Well, what are those last words? Here it is. A husband must love his wife, and a wife must respect her husband. As I was meditating on husbands must love, agape love, this is the Greek word there, and the wives are to respect, I thought to myself, what happens when a wife feels unloved? I'll bet she reacts in ways that feel disrespectful to her husband. What happens when a husband feels disrespected? I'll bet he reacts in ways that feel unloving to her. And suddenly I thought, whoa, without love, she reacts without respect he reacts without love, she reacts without respect, and this baby starts to spin. And I called it the crazy cycle. And over the last 15 years, I've shared just that information with people, and I don't know how many people have said, in 2 minutes, you've described 30 years of my marriage. And this is exactly what happens. When the spirit of an individual deflates, most often the wife is feeling unloved, and most often the husband is feeling disrespected. Now, I need to interject here. The true need for love and respect is equal. He needs L-O-V-E. She needs R-E-S-P-E-C-T. We're not debating the true need. But what we are talking about is the difference between men and women during conflict with regard to a felt need. The felt need is different. We've asked 7,000 people this question. When you're in a conflict with your spouse, do you feel unloved at that moment or disrespected? Get this, 83% of the men, 83% said they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. That's as different as pink is from blue. The wife is not commanded in the New Testament to agape love her husband. Only the husband is commanded to agape love. That's that unconditional, God-like love. Women love, they just love to love at the level of intimacy. So he's not going to command them to do that. And most husbands during conflict know that the wife loves him. He doesn't lack that unless she has said, I don't love you. But he does think that she doesn't like him, that she doesn't respect him. And she'll even say, I love you, but I don't respect you. And even though a woman needs respect, if you show her disrespect week after week after week, she begins to say, how can you say you love me and treat me disrespectfully? So it begins to go that direction. Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love, and this baby spins. Have you had that experience? This is what I believe is the issue when the issue isn't the issue. Is this true? Hollywood certainly would say it. There isn't one movie that ends with the hero embracing the damsel and saying, I want to respect you the rest of my life. There's not one card in the card history from a husband to wife that says, baby, I really respect you. This is a felt need that's different. So here's my question to you. Have you had a conflict recently when the issue didn't seem to be the issue and you saw the spirit of your spouse deflate? We believe you're getting on the crazy cycle because, right or wrong, she's feeling unloved and he's feeling disrespected. That's what's going on. How are you going to deal with that? As we continue this series, we're going to tell you how to deal with those moments.